Alright folks, sorry about that. Had to answer the call of nature, and so now we're back. Now, this is eventually where our drawbridge is going to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe the drawbridge is 5 wide, and I believe it's 6 out. So 1, 2, 3, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the next block is going to go here. Like so. And then 5 across. We'll just do a couple of quick thumbnail measurements. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We'll probably have to relocate that ladder. And if that's the case, we'll put it out here at the end. But for now, this will be a place for us to start. Should establish the correct level. So what we're going to do now is I like to take some regular building blocks and make a walkway. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make ourselves a walkway across to the other side so that this way during Hoard night, we can basically just take the walkway down. And this will also, see, I misestimated the height, so we need to go back and we need to add another layer. We'll drop these here. None of us is perfect, and believe me, I am more than aware of how imperfect I am. And the reason I use building blocks is once you place the building blocks, you can pick them up. If you place it in the wrong place, you use the wrong shape, whatever, you can still pick them up. Unfortunately, once you upgrade them or if you use upgraded blocks, they cannot be moved. You have to either break them or leave them where they're at. So in this particular case, I'm using the building blocks as a temporary bridge from the Hoard base over to where the workshop is going to be. Okay, and right here is the middle. So we want to go, let's say, 6 out from the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We want to make sure that we have enough space for everything that we're going to build. Alright, back to here. Mark that middle again. We're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to find the middle. There's our middle. So now we can see it from the other side. And we can count how many blocks over we want to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you notice all those trees behind us, I did quite a bit of work before I started streaming, and one of the things that I did was planted, first I chopped down and then a bunch of trees for wood, and then I used that wood, or more accurately, I used the seeds from the trees to plant a whole bunch more trees for later on. So this is the outline of our workshop. We'll start by filling in the bottom. Now I'll be honest, I usually build larger than this, but the larger you build, the more blocks it takes. So in this particular case, we're going to go with what I've got here. And if we have to expand out later, we will. I am going to be leaving that dew collector down here at the bottom and probably adding another one next to it. Because I have found that 2 is just about the right amount if you want to have more than you need. So I usually put 2 down. Because you'll need water for almost everything, including basic things like making glue. Glue is used to make duct tape, and half of the recipes in this game seem to take duct tape. So you'll either be making or looting a lot of glue. You'll get a lot of glue in boxes and such, but I've always found that it's never enough. So I start by assuming I'm going to need more than I can find. If I get lucky and end up not needing it, well, that's okay too. Now, most of the things like the grass and the twigs, you can put the blocks on top of and it won't go without any problem. But if there's a rock on the ground or if there's a plant on the ground, namely things like cotton, it will block you from being able to put down the block. And if you try to put it down on top of it, it'll collapse and you'll be out 1 block. So just keep that in mind when you build stuff, that you want to be mindful of where you're placing things. There we go. I like to use columns, and I usually place every other one. So that's what we're going to do here, since I've already kind of started doing that anyways. Later on we'll fill it in, but for now it's fine the way it is. Right now we just want to get the main structure up so that we can start utilizing the space. Again, it's nice to be able to pick it up. If we make a mistake, we can always fix it. Work our way up until we get the blocks at the correct height and we can start making the floor. Like so. Fill in our columns down below. We're just a little too high to be able to place the blocks, so we'll have to wait to fill out the columns until we get down below. But this gives us a floor to work with, so we can start placing our tools. This way we have a base to work off of. For now, it'll be a platform. Eventually, we'll build up walls and make this an actual building. I like to keep the workshop up off the ground because this way zombies can't wander into it and attack you while you're in your base. They will try to break it, so you want to reinforce the walls. But for now, since we're still in the initial building process, that won't be nearly as much of a problem as it will be later on. And by that time, I'll have the resources to actually be able to do it. Now, I will not be upgrading these blocks here that go between the Hoard base and the workshop, because these on Blood Moon are going to be taken down so the zombies don't have a path across. Now, the other thing we want to do is we want to build ourselves a couple of doors. We'll grab some wooden doors, and we will need 1 for now. We'll take that door, go across here, and we're going to place it right here. just like that. So this way, when we're ready to do Blood Moon, we come in, we close the door, we go up to our window, which is where our kill box is, and that's where we stay. As I said earlier, ammo initially is kind of an issue, so I'm kind of partial to the knife. And the nice thing is, this particular configuration puts the zombies just far enough away so that they generally can't hit you, but you can hit them. So we're utilizing the mechanics of the game to our advantage. That's really what this comes down to. Alright. We'll continue building. Now, bear in mind, this is my style. I'm sure that there are other people that would disagree with what I have to say about certain things. They are absolutely entitled to their opinion, and some of them I might even agree with. This just happens to be what I have found works for me. And I'm pretty sure that if I can make it work, anybody should be able to make it work. So you are more than welcome to use my ideas. That's why I'm putting them out here on the internet. If you decide that you know better or that you have a way you would rather do it, I am not going to be the one to tell you you're wrong. That's not what this is about. This is about sharing information, and so that's what we're going to do. Now notice I'm not just building straight across, because if we do that, eventually we'll get to the point where the structure can no longer hold its own weight and it will collapse. The game will warn you when that's about to happen, because the blocks will turn pink, as I showed you earlier. So it is a good idea to be as careful as possible and pay attention. Because if you forget to reinforce it, and you lay a block down, your entire structure may collapse. And that's the last thing we want to happen. Okay, so now, even though this is structurally sound, what we're going to do is we're going to put a column in the middle. 2 by 2. This is probably not exactly in the middle, though it looks like it might be. But it's close enough. I'm no architect, that's for sure. There. So now what we have is we have a platform that we can use as our workshop. So at this point, we have 1,300 wood. We're going to start reinforcing the building. Now bear in mind, in this game, if you're using wood, well, if you're using any material, as you upgrade the material, the weight goes up. So while you may be able to support 6 blocks across with wood, when you get up to, say, cobblestone, it may only be 4. So when you're upgrading, make sure that you upgrade from the support out instead of starting out at the edge and working your way in, because you may end up collapsing your structure by upgrading the wrong piece. I have found that out, unfortunately, the hard way more than once. And notice in the lower right corner, it tells me how much wood I'm using and how much I have left. The first upgrade from the building block to wood is 8. It takes 10 to make the building blocks. It it takes 8 to upgrade it to a wood block, and then it's 10 for everyone after that. So to go from wood to cobblestone is 10, to go from cobblestone to concrete is 10, and to go from concrete to steel is 10. We'll get there eventually, but that's a lot of materials. So we have a long way to go. Me being the slightly OCD person that I am, I have a particular order that I like to do things. A lot of it is just because I like to do it that way, not necessarily because it's the most right way to do it. We'll get this run finished. I have one more thing I want to show everybody. The way the game determines how the encounters work, basically how it spawns zombies, is by what they call heat. Heat is generated by a lot of things. It's generated by heat, obviously, fires and such. It's also generated by noise. So the more noise you make, the higher the heat level goes. Now, in this particular case, what we're going to do, if you remember correctly from yesterday, I showed you that you can attach the torch to the wall, and I did show you that earlier today as well. I want to attach a torch right there so that during the blood moon, when the zombies come up, they'll be easier to see. And I'm probably going to make another torch for the other side just because I like things symmetrical. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to. Alright, and while we're down here, we're going to reinforce some of these as well. Eventually we'll do them all, but I don't have enough wood to do them all right now. And the nice thing is, reinforcing building blocks also gives you a little bit of experience. So you will find that you level up relatively quickly once you start building. The guy who built our structures when I used to play with other people found that he leveled up just as fast as everybody else who went out and killed zombies because he was constantly building things. Now these columns don't necessarily need to be upgraded, but like I said, if the zombies suddenly decide to start trying to destroy your base, you'll be glad that they are. One of the things that will happen during Blood Moon, because I have my base elevated, is the zombies will fall off the walkway. Either because you shoot them and they fall down and then they fall off, or because they get pushed off by the other zombies. Now, if that happens, they take a little bit of fall damage and then they go into destruction mode. They go berserk. And at that point, what they'll do is they will attack your structure. They only go into it for a certain length of time, and I'm sorry, I don't remember how long the time is. I'm sure it's documented somewhere, I just don't remember off the top of my head. And eventually they'll go back to acting like zombies and go back to climbing your structure to try to get to you. But during that time, they will attack the walls of your base. So you want to make sure that your walls are reinforced enough to be able to take a little bit of damage. And then normally what I do after Blood Moon is I go around and I repair all of the damage that the zombies did to the walls of your base. That's another reason that you want to have spare building materials on hand, because once the blood moon is over, the first thing you should be doing, in my opinion, is repairing the damage to your base. So that way you're not waiting until the next blood moon until the last possible minute to fix it. The last thing you want to be doing is at 9 p.m. on a blood moon day is repairing your base. I'm just basically using up the rest of the wood that I have for now. I'll have to go out and get some more later on. We use a lot of wood, we use a lot of cobblestone, and a lot of concrete. Generally, I do not upgrade the workshop past cobblestone, because if you've got that many zombies attacking you all at once, it's going to be during a blood moon, and you should not be in your workshop during the blood moon anyways. So I upgrade it just to make sure that if a wandering horde comes by, that my base will be able to survive the damage. The rest of the effort goes into making sure that the horde base right here is reinforced enough so that it's not going to fall apart when the zombies show up during blood moon. So one of the things we're going to do now is we're going to go make ourselves a torch or two. Torches take 1 animal fat, 5 cloth fragments, and a piece of wood. I do believe I can make at least 1 more. There's our animal fat. I'm going to see if I can make 2. We already have the wood on us, and fortunately we have just enough wood. And cloth fragments. I think it was 5. Yes. So we have just enough to make 2. It's always good to economize and make sure that if you're going to take materials out to build something, that you just take out what you need. That's just my philosophy. Okay, there's our first torch. One of the torches is going to go back here. Just because a little light at night is never a bad thing. The other one, we're going to put on the other side of the ramp in approximately the same position over here. Right there. Now I hear some zombies nearby, so we're going to wait for them. There he is. We're going to give him the appropriate welcome. Now, one of the advantages of using a knife, as I mentioned yesterday, is it does bleed damage, which basically means if I attack a zombie and hit it until it knocks down the first time, I could literally walk away and it would eventually die on its own. I don't usually like to leave things unfinished, so I don't generally do that, but you could absolutely do that. And it will, on a regular zombie, it will do enough damage that the zombie will die before the bleed effect runs out. Alright, now I'm going to put a ladder right here. So I'm going to put a doorway there. That's the doorway for the ladder that goes to that side. And just in the interest of keeping things even, we're going to put a ladder over here as well. I usually try to make sure that there's at least 2 points of escape from every building that I build. You don't have to do that, but I do. Okay. And there's our corner posts. Now, I don't have enough wood to upgrade these yet, but what I am going to do is I'm going to start building the walls, because I do have a few blocks left. So I'm going to take advantage of that fact, and I'm going to start building the walls for the workshop, just so I have a general outline of where things belong. Alright. For now, that'll do. What'll happen is, eventually, I'm going to build a mechanical drawbridge across this span so that during blood moons, I can put the drawbridge up and it eliminates one point of access for the zombies so they won't try to attack the workshop. And notice I am still getting a little rain in here, but only a little. And I have a bedroll down. So if for some reason the zombies do get me, I can respawn back at the bedroll if I need to. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take off one row and we're going to make use of those. This is going to be the opening for the drawbridge. I hear them. Okay, this will give you some idea of how the pillbox works. See, I can hit him from here, but he can't hit me. I don't consider this cheating. We're just taking advantage of the mechanics of the game to do what we want to do. And it also allows us to conserve ammunition during Blood Moon. You guys can call it cheating if you want. I respectfully disagree. So this is going to be our opening for the drawbridge. Notice I'm leaving the ladder open on this side, and so that way we can climb up over here when the time comes. I've done this quite a bit, I've planned this quite a bit, and I have found that this is the best way to go, at least for me. Alright guys, I think that's going to be it for now. I probably will go out and gather more wood so that we can pick up where I left off. We'll see you guys later and try to have a good night.